Welcome to my short and sweet summary of the November patch, focusing on all of the key changes. The full patch notes will be linked in the description, and we're going to focus on all of the main changes and not bug fixes and any of that kind of stuff. So if you want to see all the details, check out that link, and we're going to run through these very quickly so you know exactly what's been changed. There is a new seasonal mode, the Season's Feast, which you can use, and they have presents all around the map where you get them, and then you get special bonuses, units, resources, all that kind of stuff. So have fun with that and play some seasonal feast games with your friends. Now, the first section is going to be Siege changes. The Siege Workshop has had its cost reduced from 300 wood to 250 wood, so that's a nice 16.6% reduction, and that's going to mean you can get your Siege Workshops up that little bit easier. Then Springolds have also been buffed. Their health has gone from 75 to 85 and their damage from 15 to 16, so they should be able to take care of those melee infantry much more easily now and survive a little bit longer. The counterweight Trebs have had their building bonus damage decreased from 375 to 350, so a small 6.6% nerf there, so they take a little longer to destroy buildings. The Bombards have also had their building bonus damage reduced from 410 to 375, another little nerf, but they've had added elephant bonus damage. Now they do 50 damage per shot against elephants. Culverins have also had their bonus building damage reduced from 230 to 215 and added elephant bonus damage of 35 per shot. Culverins have increased attack speed, that's why they have less per shot than their bombard equivalents. They've also had an attack ground ability included, so like all other siege units. In team games, trade to your allied markets has had its income nerfed by 10%, so it's going to be 10% less than the neutral markets, which haven't been changed, so something to be aware of if you play lots of team games. Now there are lots of late game changes in the Imperial Age, so let's go through these now. The first one is biology has had the health increased from plus 30% reduced to plus 25%, so 5% reduction, and overall that's going to be 16.6% less health, so you should notice that in Imperial for your cavalry units. French and JD have had their Royal Bloodlines health buff reduced from plus 40% to plus 35, in line with the biology changes. Also, Mongols improved biology has been decreased from plus 40% to plus 35 as well. So all of those biology techs have now been nerfed just a little bit to make cavalry less oppressive in the Imperial Age. Hand Cannoneers have had their base damage increased from 35 to 38, so they're going to be doing 8.5% more damage per shot now, which you should notice makes them that little bit more effective. Serpentine Powder, gives you the bonus against melee infantry, has been reduced from 8 to 5, so that's quite a big nerf to the damage there, but because they've had the increase, this applies to Hand Cannoneers, it will average out that they do more damage overall but slightly less against melee infantry. Keep and Keep landmarks have also had their fire armor increased from 5 to 6, so a 20% buff to fire armor, which means any torch damage or fire rams are going to take that little bit longer to take down any keeps or landmarks. Elite Army Tactics has had a cost buff, so the 500 food and 1000 gold has been reduced to 400 food and 800 gold, so that's a 20% decrease in the cost there, so that should make that a little bit more accessible in the Imperial Age. The Mongols improved Elite Army Tactics has been reduced from 1500 stone to 1200 stone, which is also a 20% reduction in line with the Elite Army Tactics buff. Now on to the Sith specific changes. Abbasid Dynasty. Fertile Crescent has had its eco building discount reduced from 35% to 30%. This is going to mean that your TCs, instead of costing 260 wood and 227 stone, will now cost you 280 wood and 250 stone. So it's going to take you that little bit longer to get those TC and eco buildings up. Your farms will also be slightly more expensive. Camel archers have had their damage decreased per age and their light infantry bonus damage decreased per age. So in feudal 12 and 12, previously in castle 14-14, and in imperial 15 is now going to be 11, 13 and 14 respectively. So -1 damage per age. So yeah, just a slight reduction. Byzantines. The mercenary costs have been adjusted. There's been a bit of a nerve, so longbows now cost 520 oil instead of 500, and the javelin throwers cost 480 instead of 460, so a little nerf to the Byzantine mercenary income. The Pilgrim Flask that you get from Cistern of the First Hill, the cooldown on the use of the ability, not how many flasks that you generate from the landmark, but when you can use them on each unit, has gone from 20 seconds to 45 seconds. So that's over double in terms of how long you have to wait before you can use that again. Chinese. Nest of Bees have had their range increased from 7 tiles to 7.5 tiles, and to note this also applies to Zhu Shi's legacy as well. Imperial Examinations has had the carry capacity nerfed from 80 to 70, but the research cost buffed from 50 food 125 gold to 50 food 100 gold, so that's a little 20% reduction on the gold cost there. Delhi Sultanate. The Hisar Academy, so your imperial landmark that gives you food based on the amount of technologies you have researched, now accounts for silk bowstrings and serpentine powder, which means you're going to be getting that little bit of extra food if you get all of those techs in. The Sultan Elite Tower Elephants have also had their damage buffed from 35 to 38. English. The Enclosures technology, which gives you 1 gold for each farm every 5 seconds, now has been increased, so a nerf that you get 1 gold every 6 seconds. So from 12 gold per minute per farm, this is now going to be 10 gold per minute per farm. So quite a big reduction there in the amount of gold you will get in the Imperial Age. The network of citadels has had the additional attack speed bonus decreased, so instead of giving you 40% attack speed bonus when it's completed, it's now going to be 30%. And just to clarify, because the numbers on this are quite confusing and there is a known bug that the UI will still have the wrong information, the network of castles that you get from all towers, keeps and TCs gives you plus 20%, and then when you research network of citadels, which you will find in a keep or a keep landmark, that is now increased to 30% when any units are within that influence. French. Cannons have had their building bonus damage decreased from 500 to 450, so a 10% reduction in building damage, but they've had elephant bonus damage added like the other cannons, bombards and culverins with plus 55 per shot. This also applies to JD if you are a JD enjoyer. Malians. The Freeborn Warriors, their standard health has been increased from 165 to 175, and their elite health has been increased from 190 to 205, and these units are one of the units that you can unlock from the Farimba garrison from the recent changes to that landmark. The Musafadi Gunner has also had its damage increased from 38 to 41, so some nice little unit damage increases there for the Malians. Mongols. Town centre costs have been buffed. Instead of 850 wood, they are now 800 wood, so that's a nice 50 wood reduction to get your second TC up a little bit quicker if that's the kind of thing you want to go for. The traction trebuchets that have had their bonus building damage decreased from 200 to 190, so a small 5% nerf there. Silk bowstrings also now applies to the Khan, so once you research that, he also gets increased ranged along with all of the other ranged and mounted ranged units. Ottomans. The Great Bombard has had its infantry bonus damage decreased from 150 to 125, and the building bonus damage decreased from 580 to 525, so an overall damage nerf there. The early Great Bombard that you can unlock from the new Vizier points has had its building bonus damage decrease from 480 to 400. The bonus damage to infantry is exactly the same as it was, it's only the building damage that's been nerfed. The Istanbul Imperial Palace, the effect radius from that landmark has been increased from 10 tiles to 12 tiles, so an extra 2 tiles. So the overall radius is 20% bigger, so that will allow you to put more buildings within the radius and get more of that buff. Jeanne D'Arc has only had one change where in the nomad mode, instead of starting with 3 villagers and JD, you get 4 villagers and JD, so a nice little nomad buff if that's the thing you're into. Zhu Shi's Legacy. The Dali Horse's tech, which gives your cavalry a 20% attack speed bonus, now functions correctly. Previously it didn't give this buff, so this technology is now functioning correctly and you will see that additional attack speed. The Ming Dynasty, which allows all unique units to get additional damage, has been buffed from 15% to 20%, so that applies to every single Zhu Shi unique unit. And that's it. A quick summary, super concise. I just wanted to keep it really clean and simple for you so you know exactly what's changed with your civilization and all of the other overall changes. But what do you think about these changes? Do you think they're going to change how you play? Are you playing a new civilization? Let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like if you like this short, concise patch notes summary, and I will see you next time for some more Age of Empires action.